things up a bit, maybe wary of that Saw Churnwalker composition, but obviously Churnwalker was already banned too, so it's a little bit surprising to me.
I think that's because they want to pick Vox here. If they do pick the Vox, that's why they banned the Saw, because they want to put Blackfeather down in the jungle as CP and then take Vox as a pick away from Best Chuck to play it into the Blackfeather. Since they have already banned the Kestrel TSM, that removes so many different heroes that they could play against the Blackfeather. Let me see that Vox pick.
We'll see if the Vox will come on through here.
Nope.
Arden will be the lock-in here. It's kind of the last premium captain available, so can understand it. I have to say, we see significantly less Grace focus here in North America than what we see over in Europe. That seems to still be a very prevalent pick in Europe, but not really the same in other regions.
Yeah, it hasn't been focused as heavily, which is a little bit surprising. It's still a very, very strong pick, can still absolutely change team fights with the Divine Interventions, and it's going to come through here now. So Team Solamid listening in to the Joe Fenny strategy discussions, apparently, so able to get that healing for, potentially for a Rhyme, but usually Rhyme is not in a position where he needs the Divine Intervention. You expect this final pick to be something that's going to try and get into the backlines, maybe something that can duel this Blackfeather, but I would also expect something that can kind of hold its own a bit too.
Right. Rona is still open, and that's a great pick against the Blackfeather and Arden. Besides that, they can either go for the Vox or the Adagio. Adagio would provide them with a double heal composition. None of that. They go for the Baron, and that's a new pick that we see here for Best Chuck in 2.9.
Yeah, it's not a new pick for Best Chuck overall, though.
Yeah.
As, we are very familiar with Best Chuck on Baron. And when the update 2.9.1 hotfix was announced, I was fully expecting Best Chuck to be going back to this Baron pick quite frequently along with Hundor. We've only seen Hundor pull it out once, and we haven't been able to see Best Chuck on it just yet. So it's a pick that he is exceptionally good with. But with a Krull now being the answer for Cloud9, they have a pretty hefty amount of dive and hard engage.
Yeah, and honestly, picking up the Baron against a Blackfeather, that's so dangerous. Because Blackfeather, we know him. He's one of the best divers in the game. And Baron, actually, with that composition with Rhyme and Grace, doesn't have the most amount of peel. He has the heals from Grace. He has the Holy Novas. But other than that, it's only the Valkyrie that can save him from his opponents. So C9 coming in my opinion, with an advantage, especially since Cruel can try and get a lot of ganks around level 6.
Now, the big question for me is, how do we feel about this double weapon power? Because if Blackfeather's going to lane, you assume that's going to be weapon power Cruel. Is that going to be a detriment to them later on in the game?
I don't think so. We've seen the double weapon power comps a couple of times this season already. We've seen teams be able to make it work, just focusing on a little bit more tankiness on the Krull and just being a vessel for applying those weakness stacks, especially if he gets onto the Baron or even onto the Rhyme. If you're applying weakness to the Rhyme, his fortified health doesn't end up being as strong. If you're applying it onto the Baron, his burst becomes heavily diminished. So there's a lot of options for what they can do with this double weapon power. And, we could end up seeing, the double bone saws coming through and things of that nature.
Right. Also, the gauntlets with an Echo. Gabe Vizzle could play like he did last game. Put the first gauntlet, jump jets will come out of Baron to jump out of the first gauntlet, then put the second one down, and now Baron is locked in, and Blackfeather can focus him and take him down. So honestly, this game can go either way. TSM have been performing better generally, but they have also made mistakes last game, so you can't tell who's going to be winning it.
Yeah, it has to be said, Best Chuck was caught out a couple of times last game, and a lot of the pressure on this game is going to be on Best Chuck's shoulders, if I can get my words out. Hashtag Vainglory 8, let us know what words you want to get out and who you're supporting in this one. Can TSM get a 2-0? Can Cloud9 upset the apple cart? It's time to find out as we pass it back to Dowsy and Humanist.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Team Solo Mid versus Cloud9. We've got game 2 here. TSM up 1-0 over C9. Super strong drafts across the board. I'm here with Dowsy and his colored casting debut. And let's see how things play out early on here.
Yeah, we do see an early move from TSM straight to the front to try and secure this Treant. We'll have to see if Gabe Vizzle can upset the norm, and it looks like he won't be able to. Focus a lot on Best Chuck and A really this game. Sporting that Fly or Die Baron skin, well, it is going to be just that, Fly or Die for the Baron. TSM almost baited, bluffed, dared Cloud9 to pick this Blackfeather and take it to the lane as a weapon power format. You know, typically when a Rhyme is picked, Black Feather goes CP because it's a little bit risky to play a weapon-powered Black Feather into a Rhyme. When the Baron came out for Best Chuck and A hero that he's made look just so good time and time again in the Summer Vainglory 8. You know, Cloud9 almost had to play it in the weapon power format, and so if I Love Joseph and Old School can get on to Best Chuck and A, and if Gabe Fizzle's gauntlets cause trouble, then we may just see this Baron losing its life.
Well, we see Elder Treant potentially losing its life here as C9 and TSM fight over. Nice two-man Holy Nova comes out. Gabe Fizzle uses that healing flask. Elder Treant goes over to Joseph. Joseph, he's on to Von C. Von C's going to throw Winter Spires. Just try to stand on it for a second. Uses his boots. He's out of there. Nobody's going to go down, but of course that Elder Treant going over to C9.
Your Cruel's really good into Rhyme just because of the weakness stacks he's able to apply. You know, Rhyme typically amazing into melee compositions, and Cloud9 have picked 3 melees, but the Cruel here, because of the weakness stacks he can apply, actually kind of negates the strength that the Rhyme has into this melee composition, and so I wouldn't be surprised if I Love Joseph kind of sticks to Rhyme and really just kind of weakens his strength here. Items are also going to be very interesting. I Love Joseph, considering he's playing this Cruel, very likely to go first item Bonesaw. This means that Old School doesn't have to build a armor-piercing item too quickly with this weapon power composition Cloud9 have. And actually another interesting dynamic is the fact that Best Chuck and A on this Baron, when he overdrives his jump jets, he's going to have that CC immunity. But there's so much CC on Cloud9 that he may have to just pick up a reflex block, and if he does so, then very unlikely that he gets armor for himself. But currently we're seeing the forever duel that is Cruel
exactly
and Rhyme.
what it is.
They can't really kill each other. It takes about 2 minutes of just slapping each other at these early levels. So both of them kind of just going to have that gentleman's agreement that they leave the area and go back to farming.
Yeah, in the end, they just kind of walk away there. I think your analysis on the team fights kind of makes sense here. I'm just curious, like, how it's actually going to play out. I feel like C9 are going to find themselves in tricky situations, and the shot calls almost have to be perfect. Whether or not they're getting onto Von C, getting the weakness stacks and shredding that armor with some Bonesaw, or are they trying to kill this Baron? You know, if Baron is just left alone too long, and he's got decent item progression in the backside, it could be really dangerous. Nice move in. Joseph's able to get that Elder Treant. Now with the Vanguard, they chase forward. Flash getting lit up. This is Old School. He's there. He's got the on point, but they switch back over to Von C. That's the tasty target they want. This is Fly or Die Baron. Best Chuck's in there. He's going to try and find some damage, but this Baron really not too strong right now. Flash X will go down. Old School finding the kill. A nice chill wins. Root C9 up. Joseph thinks about diving under turret. Think twice about this. He's got to get out of here. Best Chuck, he doesn't have the energy for another jump jets. Maybe he could have found a kill, maybe not. But a nice little early skirmish here for C9.
Yeah, I was initially surprised that Cloud9 actually backed off there. Baron not really super threatening with just a heavy steel and a 6 sins can do damage, but his first burst that he gets from that jump jets is realistically the damage that Cloud9 had to be scared of, and it had already came out, so they just needed to continue on, and they get that 1 kill, but it could have been 2, which could have been nice for I Love Joseph and Old School especially. We do see that Serpent's Mask now picked up for Old School. Never really going to go down the Poison Shiv route on this Black Feather because of the fact that Black Feather really relies mostly on his abilities for his damage. So if you're auto-attacking a lot, then you're not using your abilities, and so you don't really want to stack too much attack speed. And considering his build's likely going to have a Breaking Point and a Bonesaw in it, then he doesn't want to have a third attack speed item.
Oh, Gabe getting lit up here. This is C9 turning it around. They want Best Chuck. Best Chuck with the jump jets. He repositions. Look at that nice splash attack damage coming out. C9 are going to have to respect that. Dowsy, this is the level 5 they're in right now. We're 5 minutes into this game. He only has a Sorrow Blade.
Yeah, no, and this is kind of the scary thing about Baron. He has always been fairly strong in the hands of Best Chuck and A, and his ability to output damage. You know, Baron has a lot of damage when you do use those jump jets. The splash damage, the double auto attack, it hurts. And it's easier to hit as well, more targeted than it ever used to be before, when Baron was super popular back in spring and the early times of summer. We'll see armor stacked up by Cloud9 very quickly, you would feel. I Love Joseph and Old School have tier 1 light armor for themselves, but tier 1 light armor really doesn't do too much into the Baron just yet. They really need to get those Coda plates and metal jackets or even atlases on board if they want to negate that burst damage that Best Chug has at the moment.
And even then, I feel like an Atlas going out onto the Baron, it's effective, but not the most efficient Atlas purchase in the game, if you could imagine all the compositions that could be used. And Vonsi, he's chasing forward, he's onto Gabe Bizzle. Winds comes out there, he's going to stop on the chase as Joseph makes his rotation up. Vonsi's on his mid, Joseph moves in, Vonsi able to secure that mid up, he's going to get the regen and the healing. Flash X with Best Chuck on the backside of this fight. Ion Cannon's going to come down on the top side. Nice gauntlet stunning up too, Gabe Bizzle. You saw the positioning on that one. Baron jump jetting back. He's a little bit out of position here as Flash and Vonsi move forward. C9 starting to drop low. They have the Fountain though. Both teams still have Fountain. See if someone's going to get baited in here. Holy Nova off the mark. Jump jets, but he gets hit with the front Mel's Heart. Best Chuck getting lit up and bursts down here. Old School finds that kill. Now C9 chasing forward. Vonsi is ready to fight here around this Crystal Sentry, and especially with Flash X backing him up. Holy Nova catches one. Vonsi, a lot of fortified health building up, but he will eventually go down. Oh, Joseph! That wasn't calculated. He'll go down to Crystal Sentry. Flash X, he'll let out the Ellie giggle, but a little bit of a sloppy fight at the end.
Always me, the one who's the lowest who gets targeted by the Crystal Sentry, it feels, and I'm sure old Joseph a little bit salty about that, but overall, excellent play by Cloud9, and that gauntlet from Gabe Bizzle, spectacular, but unfortunately not really capitalized on by his teammates. I think they were in awe just as much as you, Humanist, not really ready to just dive on all three of the stunned up SM members. Cloud9 showing that they have the early game power with this crew. They can really negate a lot of damage coming out, and if those Hell Hearts land onto Best Chuck and A, then it's going to be a hurty time for him. He is almost level 8, which means that those jump jets will be overdriven, and he can, in the future, jump away from the Hell's Heart as it hits him, and he will not become CC'd. So that's a silver lining, but then when you add the Gauntlet on top of that, and the fact that Gauntlet will eventually be echoed by Gabe Bizzle, that's a lot of CC that Best Chuck will have to consider, and those jump jets will have to be used perfectly. But at the moment, TSM with a good start to this siege here. Rhyme able to get off a lot of damage, and Cloud9 haven't really been ready for it. They don't have any sustain either in a Lyra or a Grace, and you can see Flash X with the Grace. He can heal everyone up and provide damage reduction. So right now, Cloud9 need to find a team fight.
Joseph moving forward. Look at that three-man gauntlet stun there. Best Chuck jump jetting backwards. Is he going to get lit up a lot? The weakness stacks building up here. Get shot down. Old School finds that kill. He's building up breaking point right now. Actually, 2 breaking points for C9 stacking up through that fight very quickly. And we can talk about that as that fight was just over in the blink of an eye. But Joseph, he had a breaking point and a Sixens in his backpack there. He went ahead and he sold that, and he picks up a Swift Shooter. So it looks like he probably goes into that Bonesaw next item. That's what you had talked about earlier.
Yeah, no, that's what I expected that he would go into, but the breaking point Cloud9 have kind of recognized that in this early game they don't need the armor shred as a massive priority, so might as well give Joseph some extra amp to himself, and the breaking point on Cruel. First item fairly decent on update 2.9. So unfortunate for Best Chuck, he's now level 8, he wasn't in the previous fight. And so once more gets stunned up and hasn't prioritized a reflex block. He really is trying desperately to get to his damage power spike, which is around 3 to 4 items. Tension Bow picked up for the Baron. Going to be able to pierce some of the armor that is coming through already from Old School and I Love Joseph. But look at what's in Gabe Bizzle's inventory. This is what I've got my eyes on. It's a Void Battery. He is sitting 1,000 gold away from hitting an Echo as his 3rd tier 3 item. And this will be Cloud9's win condition to continue to keep Best Chuck stunned up, and especially if a Crucible doesn't come out for Flash X, if a Reflex Block doesn't come out for Best Chuck in A, then Cloud9 should be able to hit that win condition.
Yeah, they definitely should be able to. Currently, C9 putting a little aggression into the middle area of TSM's jungle here. Old School, actually, he lands on another point. He's going to dive underneath the turret. Best Chuck, Divine Intervention comes out. Best Chuck stays alive. Gauntlet comes down. C9, they're like, you want to fight? Let's go. Joseph, he's in there on the Best Chuck. Best Chuck, another jump jets. He's going to go down here. Surely he'll go down. Kroll able to secure that kill. TSM watching horror as Best Chuck just gets destroyed underneath their own turret.
Yeah, that was actually insane. You know, all eyes were on Crew and Rhyme kind of doing their thing in the jungle, and then all of a sudden Old School finds the opportunity, and another great gauntlet from Gabe Bizzle to really lay down the pressure. The heal from Flash X just not enough, and this is kind of the issue with Grace, the reason we've seen her fall out of meta just a little bit. She used to be a priority pick, but not so much anymore. Now everyone has more health, and because of this, Grace got nerfed. She had a damage reduction reduced by a heavy margin, believe it was 10%. I believe the healing now isn't quite as impactful on her Divine Intervention. So those two things paired together means that Grace doesn't quite have the same punch that she used to do as a captain, almost an annoying amount of peeling ability with the Holy Shield that she could give with her ultimate. And so even despite that ultimate coming through for Best Chuck, you kind of see that she's a little bit weaker now, and Best Chuck wasn't quite able to sustain through the fight, even though it was realistically just old school 1v1ing.
Old school still playing games up in the lane, and you know, even though the Grace not having the same impact that she used to, I think on paper we can see the kind of strength up against this triple melee comp coming in from C9, but when C9 take fights like that spread out, you're not going to be landing these multi-holy novas here. Let's see, Von C is going to start this fight off. Valkyrie coming through right on top of C9. Actually not finding a stun, just finding the slow. Flash moving forward with his team, trying to stay in position, trying to peel for Best Chuck if they jump on him. And Joseph jumps on him right there. Gauntlet comes down, but they've lost this Baron. Now Joseph, he's going to get the Vanguard from Gabe, just trading damage, juggling the damage here coming out of TSM. Von C doing his best, but he can't secure a kill. Look at the mobility coming out of C9. Now they move forward. Breaking Point starting to stack up pretty good for Old School. But this Winter Spire is trading. They have to drop the turret aggro. Joseph just on a sliver of health. How does he live? Yeah, C9, I'm going to pretend that you knew he was going to live there. This is insane.
Absolutely insane. Joseph at the beginning of the fight desperately trying to get past Flash X. Thought he had done so, so throws out the ultimate. It stuns Flash X, but Joseph goes, you know what? No captain, no issue. Jumps onto Best Chuck and A, and that was the Baron dead once more. And still no reflex block, still no Crucible coming out of TSM. You have to feel that this is their error. Yes, they have the jump jets, which provides the CC immunity, but Best Chuck and A is not getting the auto attacks out quick enough to be able to have that up multiple times during a team fight, and Cloud9 are continuously looking to execute on top of it. Gate Visual, in fact, now has that Echo online as well, and the ultimates that will come out from him are going to be even more damaging to TSM. Cloud9 with a giant lead. It's only 2,000 gold, but as far as power on these individual heroes and the checklist of win conditions that they've reached already, they can really look to start to hammer some nails in the TSM coffin, and it's Von C caught out.
Von C caught out in the jungle from Hell's Heart. Can it come around as a boomerang? Nah, it's not actually going to land. Von C turns around. He's like, this is my only chance I have to fight. Ion Cannon's going to come down right on the top, but they jump right onto Baron's deleted Best Chuck. Oh no! He immediately regrets his decision. Divine Intervention's going to keep Von C alive as the C9 just focused down onto the Rhyme. Second Divine Intervention buys him about a second and a half of time. You can see all the healing in the world doesn't really matter when C9 start getting stacked up and focusing a target down. Flash X getting dove underneath the tier 2 turret here. He winds up the Holy Nova, blocked off, on point. Feina Heart chasing in. Flash will go down here. Yeah, right? Pretty soon, right? Just like, all right, we've had enough. We're going to show mercy, Flash.
This is the one thing that Cloud9 actually have been doing that is not necessarily too good, Humanist. Their team fighting has been excellent, but their macro control of the game has been terrible. This is their first turret at 40 minutes, and they've got an 8-kill lead. When you have an 8-kill lead, you should have turrets, you should have gold miners, you should have sentries. But they've only just taken their first turret. This is what held them back in the previous game, was their poor macro control, and currently it's what's allowing TSM to stay afloat. We've got Kraken coming up in 20 seconds, but let's talk about that previous fight. Currently, Best Chuck NA, I think he's misunderstood the skin. It's not fly and die, it's fly or die. So, having to make sure that he's avoiding the gauntlets coming down. And it's that echoed gauntlet from the Arden that really influenced that kill on to the Baron. Cloud9, their target selection is just impeccable. They go onto Von C and it forces Best Chuck a rotation, but as soon as he comes in, they just burst down this Baron, and still we see no reflex block or Crucible on the side of TSM, so Best Chuck NA is still in a very precarious position. There is now an Echo on the Grace, which means a double Divine Intervention might be able to shift some damage off of Best Chuck and A, keep him a little bit healthier in the team fights. But now Cloud9 have started up this Kraken, and it doesn't look like TSM will bother contesting.
Flares come out. Flash knows what's going on. He's going to pop that infusion. I think Team Solo Mid want to play some games here. That's not the From Hell start you were looking for, Joseph. Gauntlet will come down. Let's see. Gabe's going to throw the second Gauntlet now. They're going for Best Chuck. Of course, this is what they've been doing, but that wasn't their original target. There they are, right through the Gauntlet wall, moving back. Best Chuck gets a Divine Intervention. First one, he's going to get the second one as well. He has the damage. They're able to take down the Kroll. A nice Holy Nova coming out here.
Double
Flash,
kill.
the godly Holy
Ace.
Nova. The double kill comes through, and an ace for TSM. Unbelievable.
I feel like Cloud9 almost played themselves. They were trying to be a little bit too clever there. Gabe Vizzle's positioning at the beginning of the fight meant that he didn't actually hit the Gauntlet in a position that was too impactful in the jungle. Arden can only go so far before he hits a wall, and so that it limits your Gauntlet placements. And TSM kind of just were able to escape this CC despite not really having the blocks available to them. Best Chuck able to get some auto attacks off, so he got the second jump jets up and allowed him to escape the second Gauntlet. This is a issue for Cloud9. They'd start up that Kraken. It was all a bait to try and get TSM to fight them, but they weren't able to execute on the fight. Now they've given TSM a Kraken, and now they've given TSM an in on this game.
I think for the same reason that Rhyme makes sense into C9's composition, the Baron really does as well when he's able to find the damage. And of course, the Holy Nova out of Grace had the same impact. They clumped up on the Baron, and they just got splash damage down. And C9, they start to go to work on this Kraken. Kraken's going to do very strong work here for TSM. This is the teamfight jumping out. They want the Baron. Best Chuck because he overstepped himself. Jump Jet's right on top of himself. 1,000 healing coming through from the first Divine Intervention. Second one as well. Look at the massive healing. Grace is back. Now see, I don't know. Maybe it's happening. Gabe Bizzle will throw the Vanguard onto Old School. Jump Jet forward. Best Chuck, he'll just take the lane minions with that double attack there. He'll take the choke point turret as well. TSM kind of blowing this game open here in the last 4 minutes or so. Oh, no! This is Old School jumping on the Best Chuck. Are you going to go down? He gets the on point. He stays alive. What a godly play coming out. Of course, Gabe with the Vanguard as well, keeping him alive, but he drops in the end. A little bit of a backfire scenario. Joseph's here, though. Joseph ready to make some plays. Kraken's still alive. TSM, you gonna try and end this? Like, what's actually happening here right now? Von C, they've taken the last turret down. They're onto the Vein Crystal. Now, weakness stacks are gonna come out. Von C doing a little bit less damage. Holy Nova onto 2, but blocked off. Von C stays on Vein Crystal. Kraken instead throws the Valkyrie on top. This could be like a 3-minute Vein Crystal take here. Old School's respawned. They've lost Von C. Flash is going to do it. Oh, the heroic perk comes through in the end. Unbelievable. I said it was unbelievable. I can't believe TSM came back. That was crazy.
Absolutely insane. The Grace healing too much. And where was the Poison Shiv on this Cruel? I love Joseph. I have to criticize his build. The breaking point, it was okay for early aggression, but in the late game, it was so detrimental. I love Joseph needed a bone sword.